Morning and welcome. Welcome everyone here at the center, and welcome to those folks who are online. My name is Ronna Biggs, and I'm a practitioner here and will be your service host for today. And there's so much going on today. It's just great. So everybody just keep coming on in and get settled. We have our beloved interim minister, the Reverend Dr. Bob Deen, with us today. With the fancy jacket, you gotta love that. And we have a very special guest musician today. So our musical set will be a little bit different today. And we've got Tracy, who is a local musical artist and poet, and also with the group The Living Arrows. So I'd like to welcome Tracy, and we're gonna kick off with an opening song. And so thanks for being here, everyone, and we'll get started. Enjoy.
Always a joy to be here. I'm alone again, but today I don't mind. I don't even need to phone a friend. Yeah, I feel alright. With the weight of heaven holding me down. You caught me on a good day, baby. Come on, lay your grievance out. If you're tired or you're feeling crazy, I can hold it down. I feel the ways of heaven working me. We're gonna fuss and fight and then work it out. 'Cause if we don't fight, we'll never make up. And if we don't sleep, we'll never wake up. If we never knew pain, we'd never make love so sweet. I've been feeling in a good way lately. I don't even know why. We're still griping and we're struggling daily, but even that's alright. I'm feeling unattached to non-attachment. And I don't even care if that line sounds right. I love her like a freight train, but she don't need to love me like that. And even when our time's up, I would never take it back. I feel the grief of loving changing me. If we don't fight, we'll never make up. And if we don't sleep, we'll never wake up. If we never knew pain, we'd never make love so sweet. Where did this feeling come from? How long will it linger? When will this feeling come again? Where did this feeling come from? How long will it linger? When will this feeling come again? I feel the pain of living awaken me. I feel the grief of loving changing me. If we don't fight, we'll never make up. And if we don't sleep, we'll never wake up. If we never knew pain, we'd never make love so sweet. If we don't fight, we'll never make up. And if we don't sleep, we'll never wake up. If we never knew pain, we'd never make love so sweet. Thank you.
That was beautiful. Thank you so much. I'd like to invite you to please take a moment and greet your neighbor and reach out to somebody you might not have met before. Thank you.
So now we want to get that next slide down. Just click on it. So that it is turned up. Double M, double G. And then put that ISCC at the end to the Religious Science Certified Practitioner. Good. So now you want to go to camera 1. So everybody sees that. And I want to get rid of the name for the time being. And then you want to get camera 2 ready. Yeah, you got camera 2 ready. So then whenever you're ready, you can hit the auto and move over that she's ready to talk. All right, let's do it. She's ready to talk.
All right, everybody. All right, let's circle back. Let's circle back, everyone. Thank you so much. What a joyful circle. There's a lot of joy in this room today. Hello. Welcome, everybody. Let's circle back up. Let's circle back up. Love the conversation. Good hugs. Good wishes. Thank you so much. Oh, wow, that is powerful conversation. Love the connections. I love it. Well, welcome this morning, everyone. And again, love to have everybody here and see a few more folks that have come in since we've gotten started. So thanks for being here, everyone. And now, if there are any young folks out in the audience who would like to join our children's program for the day, we got our teachers up here waving, and we'll invite you to come on up to the front. And if you are a teen, between 13 and 18, we have a teen program as well, and we'll invite you to go to the back and connect with Rylan. And then Tracy is going to offer a special song for us today.
About standing on like the shoulders of just the people who have come before us and offered great wisdom. This is a song by Louis Armstrong. We're also I'm very grateful to be in the USA and have this amazing lineage of Black American music that has like greatly affected my life and my music, and I think this is just a perfect song. I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white in the bright blessed day, dark sacred night, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people passing by. I see friends shaking hands saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry as I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Beautiful, so nice to sing together.
Thank you. Good morning. I'm Kalish Leviel, your practitioner of the day, along with Wanda and Joanne. I just look around for the stoles because that means we're here in service before you, we like to pray. And we take every opportunity. So I took this morning's opportunity to come here and offer you this opening prayer and tell you about the different ways you can request prayer. You can put a prayer request in the vessel in the back. My favorite to sponsor and mention is the 7 a.m. prayers that I said I would never do because 7 in the morning, does it even exist? Well, I discovered that it does, and it's really good. So you don't even have to turn your camera on or anything. You don't even have to be awake because it's all one. And so join me right now in knowing that laughter is a good thing. Joy is a good thing. The infinite, all there is, presents us joy in every moment, in this moment. And right here, right now, we are feeling that connection, being with that oneness, the divine intelligence that operates in and through each and every one of us. And as we sit here today, we can realize with what resonates with us, that's the feeling of the divine connecting to the divine. In deep gratitude, I surrender this prayer to the creative medium and say, thank you, sweet spirit. And so it is.
Thank you, Practitioner Kalish. And now we'll hear another song from Tracy.
The subject of immigration is really up right now. This is a song that I wrote about one of my best friends. His grandmother escaped from Lithuania to travel to what we call the New World. And she brought she traveled on foot, and she brought all her belongings in her wheelbarrow. And the song is called The Wheel and the Barrow. I am your grandmother's grandmother, and I traveled from the east on a ballad of the west, by the wheel and the barrow and the turning. When the air became thick with the fires of war, and the garden bore the stiffness of winter, and the soldiers in the town square roundabout stood like a murder of crows in the morning. Said I to my lover, I fear for my life and the life of our children's children. And in the bower of my heart, in the hour of the night, I feel the wheel of the barrow is turning. Ooh, let us gather and flee over land to the sea, and the dream of a future unfolding. Said he, there's a time for standing your ground, for the soil is the mother of our people, and the bones of my family are the stones of the valley, and my home is the soul of my yearning. Now the tools of the field will be sharpened and steeled, while the men steel themselves now for battle. and the soldiers in the town shall soon round about lay for the carrion crows by the morning. Ooh, men, follow my lead and be willing to bleed for the dream of a future unfolding. Well, the wheel of the barrow I'll tighten and grease, while the scythe and the sickle are burnished. And when the silence of night met the violence of dawn, there came a silence of no man returning. Now the old wooden cart I loaded for two, from my womb carried a blessing and a burden, while my heart bore the weight of the unknown fate of my lover and our future without him. I am your grandmother's grandmother, and I traveled from the east on a ballad of the west, by the wheel and the barrow and the turning. I crept by the wayside and tread only by night, and my belly was a-kicking with hunger, but my barrow fed me and my baby to be with the roots of a winter gray farmland. Though the roads of the north are stretched and they're torn, and the tracks are all crooked and muddy, the ways seem to yield to the barrow and the wheel, and like a horse it seemed to beckon me onward. Ooh, I'll follow the wheel o'er orchard and field, to the sea and the freedom of the new world. In the fits of my dreams, my love spoke to me from a cold Lithuanian prison, with blood on his cheek and chains round his feet, and the fire in his eyes still a-burning. I pray for my lady and my baby, said he. I pray that they're safe and they're hidden, and that she finds a man both handsome and kind to father our child and adore them. For I am your grandfather's grandfather, and I murdered for peace, and I fell like a leaf beneath the wheel of a war unrelenting. I traveled by foot and by ship and by train. I traveled all half the world over, and when the baby was born on American soil, the barrow was all I could give her. I am your grandmother's grandmother, and I traveled from the east on a ballad of the west, by the wheel and the barrow and the turning, by the wheel and the barrow and the turning.
Thank you.
Wishing safety to all our immigrants that we love and want to keep here safe.
Everybody take a big deep breath. Our hearts are open. Thank you. Thank you. Who in here is not a descendant of an immigrant? Do we have any First Peoples? So that song was about all of us. I want to honor in gratitude. And in gratitude, we recognize that we are gathered here on the traditional and unceded territory of the Lummi, Nooksack, Samish, and Semiahoo peoples, who have cared for and tended this land since time immemorial. We are grateful to be joined in stewardship in this time of care and to tend this beautiful land. And I would say, aho. We are on land that is sacred, on land that has been tended by peoples. I have a good friend back in Atlanta named Kayon, who is a Cherokee. His family are the Cherokee storytellers, timekeepers. And I asked him, I mentioned to him one time that I had traveled to Canada where I heard people talk about the First Peoples. And he just laughed, as he often did at anything I said. And he said, well, how do you know who the First Peoples are? Are they the two-leggeds that came wandering in from other parts of the planet? Are they the one-leggeds that were here long before us? Are they the four-leggeds that were here long before us? Who are the first peoples? The important part is honoring all peoples who tend this land. There's a beautiful line in the beginning, or in the second part of the principles that we teach and talk about, the principles, Declaration of Principles, that says that we, well, let me read it. That'll be better than me paraphrasing it. It says, the manifest universe is the body of God. Now that's a really different kind of idea than what you get in most religions these days. God created all of this, but somehow is separate from it, and you got to find the bridge to get back to it. Anybody grow up with that stuff? No. What we believe is that the manifest universe, all of this creation, is the body of God. It doesn't have to do anything to become that, it already is. It's the logical and necessary outcome of the infinite self-knowingness of God, of this infinite power, this universal presence. And I know the word God is not the best word to use these days because it's too oftenly associated with out there and separate. But this power that is everything shows up and understands and knows itself as all of this. And there are very few places on the planet, there are a few, where I feel it any more than I feel it right here in the Northwest, where you have these amazing trees and this beautiful the interplay of land and water and light and rain and all of the stuff that happens here in such a rich, powerful way. And those of you who have tended this land and your ancestors who have tended this land have maintained and saved so much of it. And I am in deep gratitude for that. You know, it's an important part of the identity of this center that you are the stewards of, 7 acres, 6 acres, something like that? And you have taken that so seriously as long as this place has been here. And when we see pictures from other parts of the country, we've seen enough pictures of this center that when you hear Bellingham, you see trees. You think of the land and the buildings and the people. You have built a consciousness here and a place here that is bigger than you are and bigger than you have yet understood or imagined. That's part of my talk for next week, but I couldn't help it. You got me started. It's all your fault. Yeah, here is where we are, and here's where we stand, and here is where we are stewards of this place. And thank you, Philip, for the graphic, for this thing. When I first saw it, it's not up there now, you saw it at the beginning, you saw the person diving. Our theme for this whole month is deep dive, or dive deeply. And the first talk is today on honoring those who came before, the shoulders on whose shoulders we stand. And when I saw that picture, I thought, what was he thinking? Where does this diving person come from? I haven't asked him about this. I don't know if this is what you were thinking, but then I started laughing because I realized, wait a minute, if for all of us who grew up around a lot of water, at least, I did, and everybody I know in my part of the world, when we were kids, we loved going swimming, whether it was in the river or the spring or a swimming pool or whatever. And one of the most fun things to do was dive in the water off of your parents' shoulders. Now, I don't know if that was your image, but man, I got it. It's like, that's what we're doing. We're diving deeper off the shoulders of those who have brought us this far. We're going to do a meditation at the end today where I'm going to invite you to really get in touch with that history that we each carry. But for right now and in this time, I want to remind you of some of those shoulders that you stand on. Who knows where the idea of the phrase thought, consciousness is the great reality, and all of the things happening in the real world around you are just passing by, but thought, consciousness is forever. Anybody know where that idea came from? Nobody? Come on, now's your chance. You guys tested me last time I was here. So now I'm doing this back. You get a chance. This is called test the audience. Well, Einstein's a good idea because Einstein probably said it. But way before that, way before that, ancient Greek philosophy. Ancient Greek. Mark Aurelius, Plotinus, others in that ancient Greek. See, we think this is a new up-and-coming, flash-in-the-pan kind of thing we got going here called New Thought. In truth, this is New Thought, ancient history. It is not built on some new things that Ernest Holmes made up about 100 years ago, even though he did a lot. This is an ancient teaching. This is a teaching that is new because it draws from so many places. You know, this whole Greek idea has stayed alive and well in Western thought all the way through, even though for about 500-600 years, we didn't even know about Greek, anything in the West. But it stayed alive in our minds and our consciousness, and when they began to discover it in the 17th and 18th century, being able to decipher some of those ancient texts and such, and went, oh, wow, look at that. That's where it came from. And it became a really hot topic among talking, kind of like people get excited now, you know, about new things and things we think are new we haven't heard before. So that's one place, the ancient Greeks. Another area of these folks on whose shoulders we stand, they already mentioned on the front row here, the Emerson. Emerson was an American transcendentalist. They weren't a group that called themselves that. That's what we call them, looking back at them. They probably laugh at that. But there were a group of men and women who used pen names in order to write and get published, because women couldn't be published back then, because we all know they didn't know how to read or write or weren't smart or any of that. Notice how it cuts out when I said all that. Okay. Yeah, all right, I'm listening. Yeah. You know, and Emerson, interestingly, one of the powerful things about him, he was a scholar. He was a Christian to begin with. He stopped his whole involvement with the Christian church whenever he had to start doing Eucharist. You know, Eucharist, the Lord's Supper, whatever you guys call it. and had to say that all the great truth that ever happened then and there, and that was it, and we're just clay. We're just part of the stuff. And so what he did was he started exploring Eastern thought. And at one point, Emerson had the largest library of English translated Eastern literature in the United States. And our teaching grows directly out of that. Because early in his life, Ernest Holmes, who's the founder of this teaching, found a copy of some Emerson writings on his wow, this is getting really bad. Thank you. On his brother's coffee table. I didn't know they had coffee tables at the end of the 18th century, but apparently they did. And picked it up and started reading it, and in his early thought formation years, Emerson had a huge impact. And Emerson said things like, "Hit your wagon to a star." Did you know that was his? It was a song, too, back sometime or other, before I remember it. He said a lot of really cool things. One of my favorites, Emerson quote, was, "Get your bloated nothingness out of the way." I've talked about bloated nothingness here before, I think. Yeah, okay. You've seen my bloated nothingness, that's for sure. Get it out of the way of the divine circuits, so that the divine circuits that are already alive and well within you can operate. They're operating, they just have trouble getting through because we get so much other stuff piled on top of it. We forget that thought is what counts. We forget that consciousness is what creates, not something outside of it. I was reading too, well, come back, focus. You know, another great history, which says then that our idea of God that we talk about here all the time is not a Christian idea of God. And sorry, folks, I know some of you here are Christians, and I celebrate that. And I'm not making anybody else wrong. I'm saying that the idea of God that we teach in New Thought and New Thought Ancient Wisdom is the Hindu idea of God, which is the idea that God is this energetic, creative power that is behind and inside and part of everything that exists. We say it in our principles. We believe in God, the living Spirit Almighty, one indestructible, absolute, self-existent cause. Call it God, call it Spirit, call it Big Sweetie, call it whatever you want to. The one manifests itself in and through all creation, but isn't absorbed by its creation. In other words, it isn't just sucked up so that there's no more of it to go around. It isn't all contained in this one principle or one ritual or even one idea of itself. This great power in which we live and move that creates everything is available right here, right now, within each of us. That's a grand idea. And it's a new thought, and it's an ancient wisdom. It's shoulders on which we stand. You know, one of the things we used to do in Science of Mind, especially in the organization that you used to be part of, which we aren't supposed to talk about anymore, because we are united now. But it was an organization in which we honored our ancestors in a different way. And that is, anytime someone got up to speak, they would say, "Hi, I'm Dr. Bob. My teacher was Kennedy Schultz. His teacher was Raymond Charles Barker, who was best friends and a co-teacher with Ernest Holmes, the founder of this teaching." And anyone who got to speak, anyone who would honor those ancestors. So some of the ancestors and shoulders on whom we stand right here, right now, are the founders of this beautiful center, who helped create that and those declarations that you have made about your values and what you carry forward, including the honoring of this land. Bob and Colleen, they aren't here today. I'm assuming they're overplayed on the island somewhere. It's so much fun to say that. You got islands all around you. You get to ride ferries all the time. It's really fun. And then my dear, dear friend was here for a number of years, which is how I first got to know you, Jane Ryder, now Dr. Jane Ryder. And then there have been other ministers, and I was going to get a list and read them all to you, and I failed to do that. Some of my bloated nothingness got in the way, and I didn't do it. And now for the last, 14, 15 years, you had Andrea, Dr. A, you call her, who helped build and took a community that was struggling and turned it into this massive, amazing community. But you know what? She didn't do that by herself. She couldn't have. She only one little lady. She could have created this. You guys did this. This building, this land is here standing on the shoulders of the people who acquired it and who found it and who built it and added to it. I understand it used to kind of be a barn. It was a barn. Wow. I like being in barns like this. You know? Great joy and appreciation for all that they did and all that they have brought forward in that. So rich and so wonderful. And there are more, and I'm sure I've forgotten somebody really important, and you'll fill in the blanks in your own minds and your own thoughts, and make it all be what it should be for you. You know, there's monotheism that showed up in the ancient Egyptians, and that got fed into the Greek philosophy, and there's also the monotheism in Judaism that they got from the Egyptians, and on it goes. These thought paths have gone on and on over time. And with all of our exciting, jumping around, philosophical exploration, you know, there are whole libraries dedicated to just explaining in just 3 or 4 things, like the 10 Commandments. The theological library where I went to school had 3 rooms trying to explain the 10 Commandments. I mean, we go great extent to try to understand and explain these philosophies and these ideas. And you know, all the time that that's been going on, underneath and behind it is this kind of steady hum, this bump, 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 kind of like a drum of what the original folks knew. Connected to the earth, feel the energy of her. God is in that, as that, showing up as it, and it's right here for you anytime. And you don't have to have a philosophy to attach to it. You just have to stare at the sunset. You have to take a walk in the forest. You have to stop the chitter-chatter brain long enough to breathe and hear and feel and connect with the divine. And when that happens, our souls, our hearts, our minds are rejuvenated. Filled. When your heart is open and you're able to experience that, it becomes an amazing and wonderful opportunity. That's why it's so powerful and so important that we continue to honor the indigenous folks of all the planets. And it's so interesting. I've studied and been in indigenous situations and with indigenous peoples on different continents. And what I see and know and what people write about is they're so much the same. They didn't communicate. They didn't have TV or internet or any of that. But their philosophies are so similar, so much alike, so much the same. Part of what I love about Ernest Holmes is that he's the AI of the early 1900s. He took all of this stuff. He had an inquisitive mind where they used to he was the youngest of 7 brothers, and they fussed about him all the time because he never would really have a conversation. He'd just keep asking questions, and when they would answer, instead of carrying on with the conversation, well, yeah, I think so. So yeah, I agree with you. He'd ask another question. You know. So, and then another question, and then another question. And what was so amazing about him was he kept all of the answers. He remembered them. And as he got older, he began to synthesize Emerson, Thoreau, all of the various, the early readings that he had and information he had on Eastern thought, on Hinduism, and on Buddhism, which is such an important part of this center's history and legacy, and can't go without being mentioned. So he pulled all that together and handed the whole package to you and said, here you go. Now make a life. Here, exactly. Make a life. Actually, you don't have to make a life. You had a life. It's already given to you. It was handed to you on a platter when you came out kicking and screaming and yelling and hollering and doing all the things tiny babies do. What we get to do is choose and decide what we're going to do with that life. How we want to live and how we want to live in our day-to-day, every day. And there is no wrong way to do it. Oh, yeah, there's some behaviors out there I just said we not have. Okay. It's some pretty mean things that people do to each other. All that's because they don't know who we are. We don't know who we are. People are still figuring that out. But when you get it, you don't have to do that mean shit stuff anymore. Because you don't need it, because you don't know, because you know better. You know the truth about you. See, here's the other thing or two that we teach. We believe the incarnation of this great spirit that is us in all people. And that all people are incarnations of the one spirit. All people, immigrants, those who are locking them up. That's harder, huh? For some people. I have some family members that are cheering for that. Breaks my heart. Breaks their heart that I think the way I do. Because they're really worried about me. Genuinely, because they love me and care about me. This is not a simple thing. You can say this is right and that is wrong. There is a mix. And it's all coming up because we've been declaring for years now, we want a world that works for everyone. And that means everyone has a voice at the table. Even the people we don't like. And even the people we don't want to have a voice. Now, we've got to figure out how to balance those voices, and we're going to get there. It's going to take a while, but we're going to get there. We've been struggling with that as long as we've been humans, haven't we? Even in your beautiful song, the soldiers versus the beloved caretaker. Pushing the wheelbarrow right on through. All of those different dynamics are there, and I can't explain to you how or why or what it should do. What I can tell you is when you connect with the truth of spirit that you are, there's peace. And that you take the action that is yours to take, and you'll know what that is. And we don't have to come together and figure it out. You just know, and you do it. And I hope you do it. I hope you take it forward. So I'm going to give you two more, and then we're going to start wrapping up. We believe in healing the sick through the power of the mind. We believe that we can use this powerful mind of ours to heal the sick. We say, well, what about medical care? What about what about taking an aspirin when you've got a headache? Well, a mind created that aspirin and figured that out. A mind figured out that you could do surgeries and do certain procedures to heal people. So it doesn't mean it's the mind without anything else. It's not sitting on a stump and just, it's doing that when you need to, but it's also taking action that the mind is creating and bringing forward for you. We also believe in the control of conditions through the power of this mind. We speak our minds in this country. I love it. We spoke our minds a few weeks ago when as many people were out in the streets celebrating the idea of freedom, more people out in the streets celebrating the idea of freedom than the idea of tyranny, and people celebrating the idea of control, not seeing it as tyranny. All sides showing up and celebrating, and they should, because that's what this great experiment has been. This is where that whole idea of one power coming together in all of its expressions and ideas, has come to expression. And we're doing it. We're doing it out in this country in a way to try and find how do we bring together all these disparate ideas and thoughts and create a world that works for everyone. Create a democracy. Create a place where people really can be themselves, even if themselves looks very different from the themselves across the street. Yeah. So I promised you a meditation, and I'm going to do it. So I'll just warn you right now. We're going to go over time a little bit, about 5 minutes. And fire me, okay? Yeah. Deep breath. Get quiet. Go within. Imagine yourself standing in the city, floating in the middle, the center of your life. You are the center of your universe that extends beyond measure in all directions. And just take a couple of nice breaths there. And now imagine looking to your left, seeing your mother, your father, your grandparents, your history, your family going back generation after generation, multiplying into the hundreds of people who have contributed to you being here in this moment right now. Looking all the way back as far as you want to see. Seeing that family tree just spread out from various parts of the world, from all of the things that are a part of that. And feel the energy of their support, their love, their contribution to your life down through the ages to you in this moment. Look to your right. And you see your life spreading out and going forward of the generations to follow you. Whether you have physical children or not, you all have children. You all have children. Ideas, thoughts, things you've started, things you've created. See that moving forward and expanding and growing into a flourishing expression beyond your yet imagined time. And give thanks. Now imagine looking down below your feet, through the earth into the universe. But you see these eons and eons, the millions of years of evolution. The rocks, the fire, the water, the beginnings of life on the planet, the developing of life as it grows into plant and animal forms and shapes, and see it get more and more complex until it evolves after billions of years into you, an individual. You stand on that ancient evolution. And if your imagination will carry you there, look up. Look at where you go from here. What is the evolution of humanity from here? See it. And now bring your attention right back to your heart. Breathing in, breathing out. Honoring who you are, where you are, why you're here. and look right in front of you, and you'll see your next step. Whatever your question, there's your next step. You step out with the support of generations of humanity, of eons of development, and you move forward to the next great expression of you. You are the shoulders on which the next generation stands. Let they be broad, strong, adequate. It is with great gratitude that we honor all of the ancestors, that we honor all who have contributed to each of us in being here in this moment at this place. We give great thanks to the power of life that is showing up in this way. And in this gratitude, we say thank you, thank you, thank you. We let it be, and so it is. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Bob. That was delicious. And now we have a special part of our service that we're beginning to do. And you may recall that as a part of our visioning process, we developed a whole set of lovely criteria and qualifications and sentiments that have evolved into a beautiful prayer for attracting our perfect senior minister. And during this time, this is an opportunity for us as a community to share this prayer together and steer our collective consciousness in the direction of that being so manifest. So as you are so called, I'm going to read the prayer out loud, and I would invite you to join me as well, and we will anchor this great prayer together. There is one infinite mind, one creative intelligence that encompasses and flows through all beings. There is one love that embraces and sustains all its creation. As members of our beloved spiritual community of CSL Bellingham, we affirm our oneness with this one mind and one love. I speak my truth, Senior Minister for CSL Bellingham welcomes this opportunity. This person brings us everything we envision and even more. Someone who treasures our teachings, our community, and our location in the beautiful Pacific Northwest. I know that love is leading us to partner in creating the perfect next chapter in the story of our center. I am grateful for our next senior minister, is well prepared and delighted to join our community in co-creating our abundant future. We celebrate our divine match. I release these words into the law of good and let them go, confident that all is unfolding as it should. And so it is. Woo-hoo. Ooh, thank you so much. And now for our offertory, I'd like to invite our ushers forward. We've got Mary and Anaria. And thank you so much for all the gifts that you give to our center through your donations and contributions, the service, prayers, all of that builds and lifts our community as a whole. Thank you so much. And Tracy, thank you.
Some years ago, my band, The Living Arrows, spent some time in Holden Village. I'm not sure if y'all know about Holden Village. We were brought in as the artists in residence, and yeah, it was really beautiful. It's a Lutheran community, and we as people weren't Lutheran, but part of the deal was that we had to go to Vespers every day. And so that was new for me because I was raised in a secular environment, hadn't spent much time in the church. But I really got to absorb a lot of the church music, and I was like, oh, just wonderful, wonderful melodies, wonderful chord changes. And while I was there, I wrote this song, and sometimes when I come and play here, I like to sing this song because it feels just wider, I think, than a lot of the things I was hearing in the church, and that's helpful for me when I want to pray. So I would love to teach the chorus. If you feel this sentiment, feel free to sing with me. The lyrics are, "May my body be a bridge between heaven and earth." And it goes like, I'll sing it just twice through, and you'll get you'll hear it. It's like, "May my body be a bridge between heaven and earth." And the next time it goes, "May my body be a bridge between heaven and earth." So we'll do it echo style. So first time goes, "May my body be a bridge between heaven and earth." All together again. "May my body be a bridge between heaven and earth." And the next part, just the one note at the end changes. It's, "May my body be a bridge between heaven and earth." Earth. Okay. Thank you. This is going to be fun. So. I was born in paradise. I was born divine. I was born in the valley's arms, with mountains yet to climb. God gifted me dreams to fly and feet to kiss the dirt. Here we go. May my body be a bridge between heaven and earth. May my body be a bridge between heaven and earth. I am formed of Mother Earth. I am from the sky. I was born a paradox to cross that great divide. God gifted me wings of light and darkness to give birth. May my body be a bridge between heaven and earth. May my body be a bridge between heaven and earth. Here we go. May my body be a bridge between heaven and earth. May my body be a bridge between heaven and earth. May my body be a bridge between heaven and earth. Beautiful. Thank you for singing with me. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And what beautiful voices y'all have. That's just delightful. Well, before I get into the announcements, this is our first Sunday of the month, so I wanted to take a moment to offer an update regarding our senior minister search process. So our open pulpit announcement has been made through the main Centers for Spiritual Living at the home office, and we opened for applications last month, and I will say we have started to receive applications. So here's what's been happening since that last report. we've been using this time to, since opening up the position, to organize our center's application review team. So the application review team are the folks who will be receiving the materials, and they do a review of those application materials here from our center. And the team has 9 people. There are 3 board members, 3 practitioners, and 3 CSL members, plus Reverend Deborah and I serve as co-facilitators to keep the group moving along. They're doing great. So just so you kind of get a sense of the process, when an applicant is submitting their application, it first does go to home office, and they have a minimum of 9 different types of documents that they're submitting, things like their resume and cover letters, references, things like that. So there's quite a packet of information that an applicant has to take time to put together and to submit. And then CSL, the home office, will do that initial screening to make sure that the candidates are who they say they are and that they're in good standing. So what's lovely is we get something back from home office that says this applicant has been reviewed, they are in good standing with our organization, and so we can have confidence in that. The application review team will then look at all of those documents and start tracking qualifications and experience and make sure that everything's complete. And what they're really doing is they're really looking for that criteria that we've developed from our visioning process and really seeing what's matching and what's lining up and the depth and breadth of those things in relation to our criteria, because the home office doesn't know that and they don't necessarily look at that. And so that's what our review team gets to do here on our behalf. And it's a really important stage for us of the process, because we're finding it's important for us to have great integrity in our process and practice some confidentiality at this stage. So the home office has really invited us to step into that place of partnership with the applicants in helping to maintain the confidential nature of the applications, how many, who they are. And I like to think of it a little bit like a loving kindness meditation, in the way that we're here and we've been doing our visioning and we've been doing our community process, and we have to remember that applicants are doing the same thing. They're doing their own personal visioning. They are doing their evaluatory work about our center or any other center they might be thinking about, and they have a whole lot of life dominoes that they might be needing to put into place as well. And so at this part of an application process, that's how we can be in good partnership with all of those folks and really honor their process as we honor ours. And so our goal is really for this stage to maintain that confidentiality of who the applicants are and how many. And that helps us really stay in integrity. It helps us not inadvertently share or disclose information before it's time. And if there's an applicant out there who has talked about their own intention with us or whatnot, that's their story to tell. It's not ours. So while we get to hold this in that good stead, we can be in community together. So I like to say that the application review team has now taken their vow of silence. They have zipped their lips, so we will honor that. So just know that we won't be sharing too much more information about the number or the people who have applied, so we can honor this part of the process. What we will do is look to that date around August 1st, and August 1st becomes our 60-day marker of time from when we first posted the application or posted our announcement. And we've agreed with Home Office that we would keep that application process open for a minimum of 60 days. So when we get to that point, that application review team will be able to share with the board, yes, we feel like we've got a great pool, we feel like we have some qualified folks, let's start talking about moving people into a candidate status. And then we get to really have that more public next step of the process of course, when it gets to that stage, people will know who's coming and who's in that part of the process. So I just invite you to think about how we can be good stewards with one another about not sharing incorrect information or passing on anything that you may or may not be aware of that can get us all into trouble. So we're going to stay high and quiet. Go with that. let's see. So for now, we are moving forward. There's a timeline that you might have seen in the classroom that we've had up for the whole time. We're still staying pretty accurate to that timeline as far as the process, so you can always check there. And then always Rev Deb, and I always nominate President Dan. Anytime there's questions, he's like, what? But if you do have questions about the process, you can always check in with President Dan or Reverend Deborah or I, and we'll do our best to answer your questions along the way. So thank you for that. Woo-hoo. And now, the model here in person of who is on the slide, we have a fantastic opportunity today to celebrate Dr. Bob, one of many. After service today, we have a gratitude potluck to honor Dr. Bob, and we hope that you will just shower him with gratitude and thank yous and appreciative notes along the way. We have just another couple of service opportunities to share that time with Dr. Bob, and there's tables and chairs that are being set up outside, so we'll have the potluck afterwards. If for some reason you didn't sign up, that's okay. Please still just join us today and celebrate with us during this time. Stay for as little or as long as you can. And Steve Larson, are you here in the house? Steve Larson is in the back. Steve, I've heard that you are going to be our go-to director after service for tasks and things that might need to be done to help set up. That is true. Okay. Okay. Perfect. So after service, we will have Steve be in the back, and he can help direct us with some tasks, and we'll get this place lunch ready. Love it. Thank you so much. And then speaking of food, we have our latest Gourmets for Good opportunity happened, and we had a night called, an event called A Gift with Inspiration, hosted by Sandy and Kim, and that is a fun picture. The plates look empty. That's a good sign. Good, delicious food going on there. But thank you so much for Sandy and Kim for hosting and those who were able to attend. And coming up this week, we have another event. There it is. It's the Joy of Self-Expression, and this is a fun event. And longtime CSLB attender Sheila Goldsmith and Dr. Bob, they are doing a collaboration to offer an evening of improvisation games, stories, and exercises. So that's coming up this Friday, the 11th, from 7 to 9 here at the center. But that should be a lot of fun. So thank you so much for that. And
Come stretch. Come find out just how brave you really are and just how much fun it can be among a group of people who care and love you to stretch out and try something new and silly that you never did before.
It'll be in the classroom. It'll be in the classroom. Great, thank you. And then if you have a teen who is 13 to 18-year-olds in your life who might be looking for community and connection, we do have a teen youth group here at the center. And teen camp is coming up in just a couple of weeks, but the team group does meet during the first, third, and fifth Sundays of the month. And Practitioner Rylan, who happens to be standing in the back, Practitioner Rylan is your connection to learn more about making some connections for teens. And if you're looking for a summer volunteer opportunity, you could join the coffee team. If you're a happy coffee drinker, if you're somebody who makes coffee to make other people happy, that's great. You are qualified. So check in with Kathy Bragato, who's our board member, who is a liaison for that team. But if you're interested in doing some volunteer work and supporting the coffee crew, we would love to have you, and Kathy will be your contact, or you can check in at the Ask Me desk if you've got questions about that. And then finally, a last note for next week. We are going to have the men's group meeting in the classroom next Sunday at noon, and I think that about wraps us up for the day. And and coffee service will actually be right after service. It's going to be in the back, over through the window that goes into the kitchen. So we're going to do a little bit of adjusting with that, and then Steve will help us get set up with some things logistically, and we'll give some notes about food a little bit later as things go on. But thank you so much for joining us today. Special thank you to Tracy, our guest musician. And as always, thank you to Dr. Bob, and yay. Let's do a little music on out. Great. And Tracy has one more song, and we'll sing our way into the day.
It's been over a year since I've played here, and I noticed that there's a new piano, and it's just so nice to play. I love this piano. So I'm going to do another one on this here. In our dreams, we're all chasing our freedom, losing clothes, losing loved ones, losing teeth. We awoke before we drowned. Now we see that we are home, yet we're all refugees. So walk with me in my waking dream. Talk with me in my waking dream. This life is more than what it seems. Will we awake before it's all too late? Will we escape this waking dream? Waking dream, waking dream. In our days, we're all dreaming of freedom from our wars, from our demons, from ourselves. We wake up from the ground undefeated. We are warriors, we are healers, we are peace. So walk with me in my waking dream. Talk with me in my waking dream. This life is more than what it seems. Will we awake before it's all too late? Will we escape this waking dream? Waking dream, waking dream, in my waking dream. Thank you all. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Tracy. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day. Thank you.